It's been a tough start of the new year for Los Angeles. For about a month, Los Angelinos woke up every morning to see this enormous plume of smoke. You could see it, you could breathe it, you could smell it. Everyone at least knew someone who was affected by these fires. A bunch of people lost their lives. There's over 16,000 structures burned to the ground, estimated about $250 billion worth of economic damage. It was just the worst thing to happen in Los Angeles in a very long time. And one of the issues for the rebuild process was people who can rebuild, people who want to rebuild, they're going to have to go through the whole building permit process, which can be really tricky, especially for homeowners in Los Angeles. So the mayor signed executive order one, the first one for the new year, and it did a bunch of really interesting things to help speed up this building permit process. But one of the most interesting things it did is it created a one-stop center where all the agencies you need to get a building permit are in one room. And if there's any issues, you can solve it right there. This is what the one in Altadena, it's LA County, not LA City, looks like. And the average turnaround time is about 28 days. They had a target of 30. And why can't this be the case for almost any building permit? Short of hiring millions of plan checkers, especially in a time of constrained city resources and all these people retiring, surely there's some way to make part of the plan check process faster for everybody, not just when there's a disaster. Two major pain points that slow this process down is rather than having essentially all the agencies in one room at the same time reviewing plans, they do it sequentially in order. You go to Department A, Department B, Department C, and if you get to Department C, they have an issue, you make a correction, you have to go get re-stamped by the other agencies. And if there's a conflict, who knows how long that delay will be. A good example would be if the Bureau of Grading, right, how steep like the land should be, they specify, for erosion purposes, which is what they're interested in, it has to be at this angle. Well, the fire department says we have these heavy trucks that can't make it up these heavy angles like that, so you have competing interests, and it just takes a ton of time to resolve. And the second issue is this idea of clarifications versus corrections. If a correction is issued on your plans from a plan checker, it takes a whole process of resubmitting the plans, getting the sign-offs from all the agencies, but sometimes it's not even necessary. Sometimes a correction is issued for things like, what were the construction hours, when they were actually included in the plan, and overworked, overloaded people can make mistakes. And each time you go through this game of telephone, it can take untold amount of time to get these issues resolved. And the end result is not safe for buildings. It doesn't do anything to improve, the public good. It's just kind of a disaster. So the idea here with PermitPilot is not so much to just slap a large language model or a chatbot on the permitting process, but to use technology in a way that keeps humans in the loop with their judgment and wisdom and experience and lead to better outcomes for everybody. So we'll get started with PermitPilot. We'll say we want to start a new project. Say we're doing commercial, make a building, do some new construction. So we got our plan file that we'll go ahead and put into this secure enclave. And these would be all the agencies, anyone involved would be looking at the same set of documents, all is pointing to the most recent version. Oh, just got an email actually. That's a project submitted. We're excited to inform you permits process has begun. There's no further action requested of you at this time. Cool. It's going to go ahead and ingest these permit submission. In real life, these things could be like 20, 30 pages, a lot of information here. And you could totally imagine a busy, overworked, permitting and land use professional missing potentially some, minor pieces of information. Oh, okay. Now the Planchecker, they just got an email, an alert. And it says, please just review the attached submission for project ID. Take a look at the documents. We're busy. Oh, you know what? I didn't see the construction hours. Better let them know. And that's, someone not putting construction hours on their plans is not a reason to reject the plans and go through this whole process again. Just a heads up. Hey, I noticed you didn't include the construction hours. We can't sign off on these documents until they're included. So they'll go ahead and submit that, and then get back to all the many, many tasks a busy Planchecker is up to. And we as the applicant, we're busy doing other things as well. Oh, it says we need some input, but I see here, someone's calling me.
Hello, Victor. PermitPilot with an urgent update about permit 7714. The Planchecker has flagged items requiring your immediate attention that could delay your approval. Let me briefly summarize what they've noted. I don't see your construction hours for this project. It's a required field, but not crucial to building health, but we need to have that data to proceed. You can review the complete details in your email.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at the plans right now. I have construction hours right here. They must have missed it. Can I get on a call and just talk to somebody?
Unfortunately, you can't directly call the Planchecker, but I can help you address this quickly. Would you like me to send you an email with a secure chat link where you can upload your plans or respond directly to the
Sure. Can I just show them in a video where these documents are, where this information is?
Yes, you can upload a video through the secure chat link to show exactly where the construction hours are in your documents. I'll send you an email with the link right away. The email should arrive shortly. PermitPilot is here to help you get through these roadblocks. I'm working on the email.
Okay, cool. So PermitPilot is telling us that they're going to go ahead and send us a secure chat link. And then we can show them. So we'll go ahead and so now we're launching into PermitPilot in a different mode. It knows who we are, what's going on, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up those plans. Let's say, where's the construction hours? They're right here. It's from the tool. Yeah, we'll select, let's record the whole screen, show them. And using collaboration tools, you could call this out. There's a bunch of different ways, but, show's better than tell. It's like product timeline, construction hours. It's right there. Cool, so go ahead and end the recording. We'll go back to that secure enclave, and within our submission, we also have a whole section for clarifications. And these clarifications could be very useful as kind of a shared space where folks can, see exactly what's going on and deconflict issues like this, or even conflicting, requirements from different departments. So, okay, we submitted that, and there's not really much else for us to do until the Planchecker, gets around to using it. So we'll go back to our Planchecker. Our very busy Planchecker. Oh, they just got a an email. And say, please review. So I'm playing their video. Oh, you know what? There it is. Missed it. Okay, so now the Planchecker can go ahead and say, yep, that's approved. Oh, yeah, and we just got an email that the project is back on track. There we go. So that's kind of the basic flow. A real construction project has a lot of these going back and forth, but you can imagine these kinds of technologies being used in a way to make the whole collaboration process much, much simpler. The way this experience here was put together was one using Voiceflow's outbound call feature. You can call into this agent too, but essentially you have a main entry point. It checks for various events. If you just want to talk and ask questions about your project, there's all kinds of routing for that. For the initial web widget experience, you can see stuff. For an outbound call, and this gets triggered by another tool we'll see in a second called Relay, it checks a bunch of statuses, and it'll run through essentially this prompt here, which we pass in some information about the project, what's going on. That was that phone call we had, and we figure out like what do we want to do next? Do we want to just resolve this out of band ourselves? Do we want this agent to let us, maybe not speak directly to a busy overworked planning person, but be able to show them visually, here's exactly where that information is, or any kind of manner to deconflict the, requirements from different departments. Relay.app is a really cool tool. And you had this idea of a bunch of different workflows. And what we're doing here is there was a kickoff event where listening for when a folder was added to that shared notebook, that shared drive. When that happens, we send an alert email, and then this next step takes a second, and it'll pluck out. It really did pluck out all this information from that planning document, the project ID, the email, the project type, first name, all that stuff. And then it runs the project kickoff flow. And the project kickoff flow starts, it sends an alert. And then this is the cool part here. As part of this whole process, we're putting the human in the loop. So the Planchecker, and you can slide in all those different variables and stuff. The Planchecker can review the document, and then they have to make some decisions. If they approve it, they reject it, needs comments, they can add additional remarks. And then some simple logic to say if they approved, and the whole workflow pauses until they get some, some information from the Planchecker. What's really interesting about a tool like Relay, and there's a lot of workflow automation tools, but Relay does this very well for dealing with people, where if the due date isn't met, 3 days or whatever the standard is, you can keep bugging the same person, or it can go to a different person inside the organization. It has a lot of neat features for handling like the human aspect of managing complex workflows. And so if they're rejected, you can send an email, and you can wait for the reply to that email, and then you go, kind of go through that same process and kind of iterate through it. We went through the needs comment part. So what we did is we created a URL, and then we called the user, and this is all done using Voiceflow's API. And then we triggered a project status update. When we call the user, that was that outbound flow here. And we worked through that prompt. We built the URL, And in that URL that we loaded with the application had a bunch of parameters in the URL, set it up, we launched the experience with information, and then you can send data back and forth. So all this is, pretty straightforward to make an existing process much cleaner and easier to deal with. And just to kind of close with this is you can think about a concept like PermitFlow and using all these amazing voice AI tools from Voiceflow and all like the great extraction capabilities of workflow automation programs like Relay and others, is keep the human in the loop, keep very important human touch for fire life safety systems. You can get rid of the delays. There's not a lot of back and forth. You don't, necessarily need to be exchanging emails back and forth or like having to get on endless calls and no one has context what's going on. People are able to focus on their highest and best use of time on one specific thing at a time and try to resolve any conflicting advice. Again, tech stack was mostly Voiceflow and Relay, and you could imagine to abstract this out to any other infrastructure. Just to close on this, like Los Angeles has been able to, in times of crisis and danger, really innovate. During the pandemic, on the left here, it's a restaurant in Manhattan Beach where, that's a parking meter right next to a table outside that's on the street. That was unthinkable years ago to do that, but times called for it, and there were very creative permitting solutions to deal with that problem. Right, and there's been a lot of innovation all throughout the building department with like case managers and all this stuff, and even here like virtual inspection. That there's a lot of potential for innovation here, and it can definitely make the city in which we live even better. But anyway, that's a PermitPilot, and thanks for your time.